My name is David Gerber, and I wanted to put together a video that would share a bit about the essentials or the basics of the coaching process and what it's like to work with a coach, even a little bit about how you hire a great coach and how you frame things up. So I wanted to kind of break it down to the most simple, possible approach as you're thinking about this. And so this, over the 10 years that I've coached so far, this has been the stuff that I've distilled it down. These are the most essential fundamentals or basics in terms of when you're thinking about coaching and how it could be resourceful for your world. So let's jump into this. So the one of the biggest things that I highly recommend as you're thinking about this is when you're thinking about coaching, it's not about whether or not you need a coach or you have to grow or transform or get to the next level or whatever. What you want to be thinking about is do I want to grow? Is there this desire in me? Do I think I'm capable of more? And is there a future that I really want to create? Is there a future vision worth going after? Are there goals? Is there things in my life? Are there things in your life, or what are the things in your life that you want that you don't currently have? And so, as you're thinking about these things, what I recommend is not coming from a place where you're in need of growth, but more of a place of, hey, I'm okay as I am, and I might want to grow. There might be a future that I really want out there. There might be some things I want in my life. It could be something from a business standpoint. It might be something from an income standpoint. It might be something from a relational standpoint, an achievement standpoint, a health or spiritual standpoint, whatever it is. But you want to ask yourself this question of, is there something that I want that I don't currently have in my life? And then from that place say, do I want to grow to get there? Again, not that I have to. You're okay as you are, and you might want to grow. So as I'm going through this video, I'm going to share a bit about. There's a story of a client that I worked with that I'll weave in and out of the video to illustrate how the coaching can work for a person. This will just be one example that I'll share. So when I look at this, there's some things behind me that you may be wondering what these things are. And so ideally what we're looking for here is there a future vision worth going after that is different than how things are now? So is there something you want that you don't currently have? And would you have a desire to grow in order to achieve that vision? So, and then one of the things is, once you have that vision set and you start to really lean into that, and maybe you're unsure of that vision, and coaching can be really helpful in terms of clarifying that vision. So you may have a vision, you may not, and if you don't, maybe you really have a strong desire to have a vision. And so that can be part of the coaching process as well. Once you start to establish that vision, then as you can imagine, there's this gap that opens up between where you are and where you want to go. And within that gap, there's going to be some of the things that you know and some things that you don't know. And so with the client that I worked with over the past year, when her and I began working together, she had a vision. And so she happened to be in a sales role. And so there's some roles, some parts of her vision that were specific to her job role as a sales executive. And then some of the vision was beyond that, was if I succeed at my job, then it opens up things for my life that I really want to achieve or to have in my world. And so for her, we went after a two-pronged effect. One was we went after doubling her sales quota. And then the other thing that we've gone after is, what does that open up for her world? And so for her, part of her journey is she wants to be one of the best connectors of people on the planet. And she wants to connect great minds together to achieve great impacts. And so if she doubles her sales quota, that opens up a lot of possibility for different things that she can do in terms of connecting people. So for her, when we started out together, she realized there was things she knew she wasn't doing. Some disciplines, obviously in sales, making certain calls, proposals, etc. There was things in there, disciplines, habits, systems, and routines she knew that she was aware of that if she did would help her get closer to her goal. Sometimes it is valuable to work with a coach and simply to set commitments to put yourself on the hook and move towards those things. And the great thing is with coaching, a lot of times what you'll also explore and discover is things that you don't know that are in the gap. So you've got things that you know that you can put into place, and then there's things that you don't know. And oftentimes it's the things that we don't know that are really important. And so the question to ask yourself is what you don't know worth knowing? Is what you don't know worth knowing? And so when we're thinking about that with pertaining to the client that I was working with, what she didn't realize and what we discovered through the coaching is that she didn't realize how much the avoidances in her life were affecting her capacity to hit her sales quota, or excuse me, double her sales quota. And so she would avoid conflict. She would avoid difficult conversations. She would avoid, really sitting down and thinking about a vision she would have for a certain scenario that she was in that she was frustrated with. And she would avoid those things. And she didn't know how much that was impacting her. And so by her own description, she would get frantic. She would get frustrated. Her brain would lock up a bit. And then she would end up distracting herself and not being efficient with her time and not doing the things that were required in order to double her sales quota, which then affects her ability to generate an income, which affects her ability to be a great connector of people, which for her is the most fulfilling part of it all. And so what she didn't know, there's all kinds of stuff that was in here that was affecting her capacity to close the gap between current reality and her vision for the future. And then what was happening is, because she wasn't aware of what she didn't know, a lot of the stuff that she knew to do weren't happening because out of frustration. And so then in the coaching, what we do is we get really crystal clear and we begin to chart these steps that then close this gap down and begin to drive towards that vision. And so as you're thinking about the coaching process, again, is there something you don't have something that you don't have that you would like to have in your life? And for her, it was doubling her sales quota, opening up some doors to be a great connector of people, be able to have great gatherings of people at her house, etc. And so what she realized was, and this is kind of a good delineator between, like, do you want to hire a coach? Do you want to grow at a faster rate than you would without a coach? Is noticing that there's probably a trajectory. So the solid line here is the trajectory that most people grow. Most people are going to grow with or without a coach. Just the kind of the general way things go. Now, what she was determining when her and I were initially talking was, does this dotted line matter to her enough to where she can be further along 6 months from now, 12 months from now, and then what difference does that make for her? And for her, the great thing with this particular example was the fact that she actually hit her quota for the entire year 6 months in. So she still had 6 months to go. Because of the coaching, we hit her quota, and then she had the last 6 months of the year to not only work towards doubling her quota, but also to work towards beginning to get stuff ready for the Q1 of the following fiscal year. Which, hitting that quota, put about $40K into her pocket. And then if she doubles her quota, it'll put another additional about $100K in her pocket because of the sales bonus structure and commission that she has at her company. That's how things look for her. Now, so for her, this was absolutely better than this, enough in order to say, yes, coaching is absolutely worth it, because I get to hit my quota and potentially double it, and I get to experience all the benefits of the growth of the coaching, the transformative process. So for her, she got to essentially have it all, not just where I was coaching her to hit her sales quota, but she was getting to experience a lot of the other benefits of the coaching as well. So as you're thinking about the coaching, what you really want to figure out is this gap, which is similar to over here, is this gap significant? And if it's not, I would invite you to increase your vision, to grow your vision, and think, what are those things that I might want, that I think I might be capable of, that I'm really curious about if I'm capable of making this big of a difference in the world, this big of an impact. And that's what I explore with people when I have my initial coaching exploration call with people, is I explore with them what that would be like. What might they want that they dream about? They could throw off all limitations. What could that look like? And then should we, eventually, if you decide to hire me as a coach or you decide to hire a coach, the whole process from that point on is, once you establish this, is setting commitments, keeping commitments, and then going back and looking what worked, what didn't work, what worked, what didn't work. And then keep exploring, and then you commit again, then you explore, and then you commit, and you keep moving forward, you keep closing that gap. And that's essentially what the coaching process is like. And so as you're thinking about this, or wondering what it's like, or if you want to talk with a coach like myself or another coach, that's what you want to be thinking about. And so I hope this has been helpful as you think about how you can frame up the coaching process. Obviously, it's much more detailed, but I wanted to give a quick synopsis of this in a short video format.